peace. This your host, Selah Shalom, and this is the Cosmon Teachings and the Words of Jehovah and His Angel Ambassadors from the Cosmon Bible, Owaspi. And the topic of discussion today is called the Introduction to the Four Great Prophets, the four great persons chosen by God, which is Po of China, inspired by the god Yema, BRAHMA of India, inspired by the god Div, ABRAM of Persia, and afterward Egypt, inspired by the god Vishnu, and EAWATAH of North Gautama, or North America, inspired by the god Os. And these inspirations were for the same period of time known in the kingdoms of heaven as the time of the Ark of Bond. These four gods were the chief divine gods of that day. Now the first book of God, chapter 1, verse 1 to 4 states, "The creator of creations, out of whom are all voices, of whom are all things in semblance, from him and in him these utterances, by his gods and lords, and high-raised angels and mortals," verse 2, "into whose dominion gave he the earth for the glory of Jehovah, whose God came and walked and talked with such as had been prepared for the deliverance of his chosen," verse 3, "For the four preserved divisions of the earth gave he four sons of holy light and power for the voice of God and his lords," verse 4, "Po of Japheth, Abram of Arabia, BRAHMA of India, and EAWATAH of Gautama, which is America, whose records are everlasting on the earth, which are testimony that these men were raised up by the Father for his own glory and for the deliverance of men." Now in the book of Divinity, chapter 13, verse 1 and 5, it states, "In the 180th year preceding the dawn of Dan, that is to say, 2,920 years after Fragapati and Zarathustra, Jehovah sent swift messengers with 6,000 Etherian angels from the Nirvanian fields of Shingotha in Etheria," verse 2, "And the swift messengers brought these words with them to wit, Greeting to thee, God of the red star, and her heavens, in the name of Jehovah, by the love and wisdom of Sipan Armaj, Nirvanian goddess of Hayot Sayata, we speak in the Father's name, peace and joy be unto thee, O God, and to thy sub-gods and lords, the Lord gods and goddesses. 180 years of darkness will now come upon thy kingdoms, and then the darkness will go away, and dawn will be in the place thereof. And in the time of darkness, behold, the nations of the earth will go down in great darkness," verse 3, "But the light of the Father's presence will not be destroyed. A little seed shall endure amongst mortals, that seed may be propitious to thy labor of thy goddess, who will come in that day. She sendeth her with 2,000 Etherian angels for India, 2,000 for Japheth, and 2,000 for Arabia," verse 4, "And thy goddess decreed that thou shalt appoint unto these angels one of thy gods high raised, and he shall go with them, and his labor shall be with them," verse 5, "And the business of this thy God and of these my angels shall be to raise up heirs and followers who shall be grown to maturity when I come. For through these that they raise up will I deliver the Father's chosen out of the affliction that will be upon them in that day," verse 13, "But because the Ahuans, the Zarathustrians, will not war, they will be enslaved by the mongrels, except such as escape to the forest. And between celibacy and torment, the Zarathustrians will have great suffering and bondage, and many of them will be discouraged and lose faith in the Creator," verse 14, "But that their seed may be preserved and delivered out of bondage, ye shall raise up many who are capable of suez, and in the time of dawn they shall be rescued from their enemies. Behold, here are present Etherian angels who will go with you throughout these lands and survey the people, and provide also for such great lights as shall lead the people," verse 16, "And in 11 days thereafter, behold, Ajah began to fall on the heavens and the earth. The belt of meteors gave up its stone, and showers of them rained down on the earth, and the sun became as a red ball of fire, and remained so for 166 years. And the peoples of Arabia, India, and Japheth is China, fell from holiness. The Zarathustrian gave up celibacy by the hundreds of thousands, and married, begetting children in great number. many women giving birth to 20, and some even to 20 children. And some men were fathers of 70 children, and not few even of 100. And the Zarathustrians, even the Faithists, with the mark of circumcision, went and married with the mongrels, and they with the drunks, so that the foundation of castes were broken up. Verse 18. So great was the power of Ajah that even the Ahans often broke their vows and lived cleansely with the world's people, begetting offspring in great number, not eligible to enter their sacred cities. And yet mortals saw not the Ajah, saw their cities and temples as it were sinking in the ground, but they sank not. It was the Ajah falling and condensing. Verse 18. Jehovah had said, would I give that growth the corpor inspired man to corpor? Would I give that growth the east, the spirit, inspires man to east, the spirit? And in the days of Ajah, neither angels or men can enthuse mortals with spiritual things. Only they that are organically grown in spirit can withstand. Book of Sipin Amaj, daughter of Jehovah, chapter 4, verse 10 through 13, states, Jehovah hath commanded the rising of a voice in 4 divisions of the earth. What is the light, O God? And God said, verse 11, in Japheth I have raised up a man named Po, and Ahuin of the iron side, of grade 95. In Arabenia I have raised up a man named Abram, and Ahuin of the iron side, of grade 95. In India I have raised up a man named BRAHMA, and Ahuin of the iron side, of grade 99. And in Gautama, which is North America, I have raised up a man named EAWATAH and Ahuin on the iron side, of grade 95. Verse 12. The angels who have accomplished this labor are still with their wards, but are apprised of thy coming. Behold, I send with thee messengers who will answer thy commandments. Verse 13. Hereupon Sipin Amaj with her host departed and entered an octavane which God had previously prepared for her, and she took with her 1,000,000 attendants, going straight down to the earth, and first of all to visit mortals and the mortal kingdoms, kings and queens, temples and oracles, and then to see Po, Abram, BRAHMA, and EAWATAH, all of whom were sufficiently illuminated to see her and to know she was the person of the All Voice. Book of Semen Armaj, daughter of Jehovah, chapter 5, verse 1 through 14. When the light fell upon Sipin Amaj, the voice of Jehovah spoke through her, saying, verse 2, in thee whom I made God over the heavens, in thee whom I made God over the earth and her heavens, I am well pleased. By my hand hast thou raised them up. Through thee have I maintained the diva, even unto this day. The diva is the divine law. Verse 3, thou shalt have honor in my exalted heavens, because thou art the first in SPETA, but thou shalt crown thy glory by descending to the earth and walking with mortals for the term of 4 years, even with my son BRAHMA. And when thy time is complete, I will come and deliver thee and BRAHMA. Verse 4, in my name shalt thou raise thy voice and establish me amongst men, and I will be with thee in wisdom and power. Take thy attendance and proceed to thy labor. And whatsoever thou desires of me, call, and I will answer. For I have messengers who shall labor between us. Verse 5. God then saluted and withdrew. Next came Yema, and to him Jehovah spoke, saying, verse 6, being one with God, thou shalt labor even as he laboreth, and thou shalt descend to the earth, even to my corporeal son Po, who hath been prepared in my name, and with him shalt thou walk the earth 4 years, and thou shalt speak in my name, establishing me amongst mortals, to the end that my chosen shall be delivered into my kingdoms. Thou shalt lead them away from the mortal kings, and teach them to know me as their only king. Verse 7. Take then thy attendants and go to thy labor, and at the end of 4 years I will appoint a successor to thee, and I will deliver thee into my Etherian kingdoms. Verse 8. Yema then saluted and stood aside. Next came Vishnu, renowned for his labor in India and her heavens. To him Jehovah said, verse 9,